I found this, which is it's embroidery, which was on a card sent home by soldiers to wives, girlfriends, family back home. I found this in 1980 when my granddad, Joseph Pearson, had died. The embroidery is basically from World War One. It was wives of servicemen that had died, French and Belgian, that didn't get any war pension. So they used to create these cards, sell them to soldiers who would then send them back home, and eventually the War Office would send them through. We had very little of my granddad. That's personal to him, to my grandma, and it's just it started a search for who he was, what he did. So I started at National Archives searching and found his medal index card, which basically tells you what medals he got, which regiments, and an army number. So you've got a starting point. So I gradually got to piece together up until him and my Uncle Rob separated units. He went one way, my granddad went a different way. He would gassed out in Somme, ended up back in Sheffield, which was 20 miles from where they lived, but the family didn't actually know he was in Sheffield. So he spent a few months there, rehabilitation, and then got sent back and joined a different unit because of casualties. After the war, he returned back to South Yorkshire, a little mining village called Fernscoe, and to the local pit, which was Hickleton, Maine. Picked up his old job pre-1914 and stayed there until he retired, late 60s, early 70s.
What I found in the collection that connects to Stewart's fabric object is a book called Dans les Flandres Britanniques, published in 1916 in Paris by an author called Marcel Boulestin and an illustrator called Jean-Émile Laboureur. And what I found very interesting about that book is that it's not about glory or military operations or big action. It's really about the daily life of the soldiers behind the front and their interactions with the population, with the men and women living there, and with the other soldiers. You see them just, doing the washing. You see them relaxing, bathing. So I thought that item was very interesting to learn about the daily life of the soldiers abroad in France and Belgium. Laboureur was a quite famous artist. He was friends with a lot of artists at the time, and it's been said that his illustrations were a bit the beginning of Cubism. The other item that I found that was interesting because it's also a personal memory from the war, from a woman called Albinia Weary, who was a nurse during the First World War. She was a nurse in Paris at the Gare du Nord, where there was a place for the British soldiers where they could just rest and have meals and rest a bit and relax. And it was called informally the English canteen. She collected a lot of postcards and little memories, stamps, different little calendars. So, for instance, this is a carnet de carte postale militaire. So they were the pre-printed cards that the soldiers could use to send to their family. We do have some little calendars, very brightly illustrated. But what's interesting, especially there, is that it's a bit the other side of the story. It's a collection of a woman who was in the war, who was working in the war. And what's very interesting is that she also kept that collection with her. She brought it back to England And the collection, that kind of little wallet of memories, was given to the library by her daughter in 1962. But like Stewart's grandfather, she kept it with her whole life. And it was something that was very dear to her.